And welcome everyone to the comic multiverse where the worlds of nerd meet. We're back again for another video episode because you all loved the first one so goddamn much. Matt and I thought, well, I guess we have to do this forever now until death or until people stop watching, which I hope is never.
Until the heat death of the world, we have to do this in video now.
That's the thing, man. You give them an inch, they'll demand a mile. But seriously, though, we're glad you all loved the video thing so much. We're glad you loved the changeover. We're glad people dug it. It ended up being the quickest watched episode we've ever done in terms of analytics, in terms of, like, from when it was out to how many people watched it in quick succession. There's only one video we've done of the comic multiverse that actually has a higher view count. And you know what our most popular, most listened to episode was, Matt?
I have an idea, but what is it?
Might surprise you, it was our goodbye episode to the New 52.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, at like 5K. This one's close. This one's 2-something nearing 3, so who knows, if we keep up with this, we might actually be able to eclipse that at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
So, hey, that's your call to action, comic multiverse universe fans out there. Be sure to rewatch this episode over and over and over again, and tell your friends and your grandma to watch it over and over again, so we can just, really pump those numbers up.
Mate, you gotta watch it in syndication.
There you go.
Watch it in syndication.
And if that seems like scummy YouTuber tactics to you, it's not the scummiest thing a YouTuber's done.
Yeah, not this week at least.
Not this week. Thank God that everyone else is screwing up way more than us, Matt. We look like freaking saints in comparison, which I never thought I'd be able to say about anything ever.
No.
I guess moving forward, now that we do have video incorporated into it and everything, now that Matt and I are forced to comb our hair and put on pants for this show now, I guess patrons out there, I'll shoot this to you and to everyone else as well. What would you like first? Because usually when we're done the show, what I do is I render it, I run over to Patreon, and I put it up first for everyone to listen to and download. Matt, to his credit, is actually recording the video end of this and handling that, so I'm not putting too much strain on my computer, etc., etc. Usually takes him like a day or so to render and then send it off to me. That's why you Patreon people got the video version of the show like a day or so late. Is that okay with you? What do you guys want more? Are you willing to wait a day to get the full video version first, or would you like to hear the audio version? I mean, I guess if you're patrons, you're super fans, and you want it right away, I can only assume.
Yeah.
And if you're not a Patreon yet, and you want to listen to this show and see it in glorious video first, that's the place to do it.
It is.
There you go. So with all that housekeeping out of the way, how was your week, Matt?
Pretty busy, and I'm sure yours was as well.
Yeah, lots of comics, lots of new books, lots of stuff going on, lots of eventage. I'd like to say I'm ahead of the curve, but I'm not. There's actually some shit I really need to film that I haven't, and I'm like, whew, let that go way too long.
Yeah, I completely understand. I've got Comic-Con coming up in the weekend, so I've got stuff to do for that. And
yes, you're going to OzCon, you and a book we'll talk about this week.
Yes.
You're gonna hang out with a certain father who may be a certain hooded figure. This be sure to listen later on in the show, everybody, as Matt gets to gloat his ass off about being 100% right about Mr. Oz.
Well, I have been on Twitter for the last week, so.
Oh, I know. It's like, man, if there was like a 140 character version of a Happy Dance, that's what Matt would be doing right now.
People are mad that I was wrong. Right.
Yeah. Well, it's like, because it's like it was almost too simple, but that's why it was actually such a good twist. But, I'll wait. We'll get into that when we get into that. We have stuff beforehand to talk about. We actually have a fairly decent smattering of news collected throughout the week. I think we're going to have some good conversations.
Yeah, we got quite a bit of comic book news this week.
Yes, and a little movie stuff, too, which I think is where we'll start the show off this week. First and foremost, some happy news. Last week was kind of a downer, so it feels nice to have something positive to say. Patty Jenkins is now officially signed on for Wonder Woman 2.
Awesome.
My only thing is, like, shocking that it took this long to get her signed on.
Yeah, well, I think maybe she was negotiating for more money, maybe.
That would be nice. I hope she gets more money. And here's the thing, too. I hope the holdout was she was playing hardball for more creative control was the thing where it's like, look, I showed I can make you a lot of money. I showed that I can make you look good, and I showed you that I can deliver the first movie in your franchise of whole shared universe movies that isn't a dumpster fire. So, you know, maybe keep me in mind.
Yeah, I'm kind of important now.
I'm kind of a big deal. In fact, geez, when you put it that way, now that, you know, like, it's a woman helming a big superhero franchise, I think she might be one of the most powerful Hollywood-like directors right now with that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Definitely one of the most valuable, and good for her.
Yeah.
I guess that'll have to be our next commentary, won't it, Matt? When that rolls around, I guess we'll have to actually sit down and talk about Wonder Woman.
We will. I think it's out on digital at the moment.
Yes, I think it is. Let's try and coincide a good week where there's no news topics to one where the official DVD is out, so more people can watch along. And we'll gush over the first 90% of the movie and how much we enjoyed it, and then we'll be like, oh, it's the last 10 minutes, shit.
Oh, it's the part when Zack Snyder snuck into the studio and filmed it.
Damn it, Zack, you get away from that editing bay, you can't stop me. No, it's true, we literally can't. He can overpower any one of us. Also, before we move on, if you hear some sort of droning in the background, I apologize. It's one of the hottest nights on record here in Ontario, so I am in the living room, which is closer to the air conditioner. It's literally right over there. It's the only thing keeping me cool right now, so sorry for that.
I'm so unprofessional.
I'm not sorry to my condo board, though, because here's the thing. We have, like, a central air conditioning system that totally sucks ass, and mine broke this summer, and they're like, oh, yeah, it's going to cost X amount to fix. I'm like, well, that's bullshit that I got to pay that and pay for end-of-year use. Why don't I just get a little rolling unit? There's nothing in the condo rules that say I can't have it, but they don't like that I have it. All the old crotchety old people are very upset about it. Apparently they brought it up at one of their council meetings, but they're like, oh, we can't do anything to Joel. He'll overpower us.
He's a loose cannon. He's just going around and doing his own thing.
Give us your mic and your gun. All I could think when they were having that meeting is like, you wrinkly motherfuckers, you. How many times have I helped you all with your computers and shit? And this is the thanks I get for having, oh, he's got an illegal air conditioner.
You're running an illegal air conditioner racket out of your condo.
It's not even powerful enough to go to all the rooms. It's enough to make the living room cool, and that's about it. I've been sleeping on the couch a couple nights just because it's nice and close to the air. You know what I think it is? I think the problem is that they're like, oh, well, if he has it and is saving money and being so comfortable, it's only a matter of time till everyone in the building wants to have one, to which I'm like, they should be allowed to have it if they want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you gotta vent it out the window, and the windows will look like crap. And I'm like, well, it's only for like 2 months out of the year. You figure these old people, they only have so much time left. You want them to, you know, sweat to death in the summer heat? I see it as a charity thing. It's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah. And, hey, speaking of stories that people are sticking to, disregard that segue. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Daniel Day Kim, we were talking there about the Hellboy reboot and how Ed Skerin quite famously now stepped down from it amidst a whitewashing controversy. Well, apparently Daniel Day Kim is in talks right now to take the part that Skerin stepped down from.
Yeah, and good on him. I like him. He was really fantastic in Lost.
Yes, he was. Johnny Gat in, what is it, All the Saints Row games. That's him.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a wonderful actor. I think he's super cool. And I also think he's kind of perfect for this in a weird way, because if you'll recall, he had a big falling out with Hawaii Five-0, that revival of the cop show. He left that show in a bit of a huff because, you know, he said that all the Asian actors on the show were being disrespected and weren't getting paid what they deserved. And he basically walked off a wildly successful network TV gig to advocate on behalf of Asian actors in Hollywood to get better treatment. And he certainly advocated the fuck for himself to get this role.
Yeah, it worked. It worked.
Yeah. Good on you, Daniel Day Kim. Now here's hoping the movie isn't shit.
Yeah. Now it's kind of weird though that, like, obviously they picked Ed Skerin for the role and he gave it up, and like, why didn't they just choose him first?
I know, right? It's very weird. I'm sure it's just old Hollywood thinking where it's like, oh, we didn't think that was a problem anymore. We didn't think people actually paid attention to this shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe we'll think better next time. I mean, shit, we can't have anyone hating this Hellboy movie because we seem to be betting the farm on this one, and we seem to be shooting it out there pretty quick. We actually got our look at what Hellboy is going to look like in the new movie. We got a costume reveal, I guess you can. I call it that with finger quotes because he looks fucking exactly like the Ron Perlman version.
Yeah, it looks exactly the same. The only difference is this one wears his hair down, or at least in this picture.
Oh,
like, it's revolutionary, man. It's gonna change the field, like Deadpool.
I imagine that they're looking at the costume and they're like, oh, well, what do we do? You know, how do we really make this sing? How do we redefine it? How do we make this Hellboy for 2017 and make it fresh and interesting? Well, okay, so you know that hair that's up? What if it was down? Fucking brilliant, Jenkins, man. You get a raise. You deserve it, man. Also, too, like, they kind of make a point of showing, too, where it's like, yeah, but this Hellboy is super cut. See his six-pack devil abs? Do you see them?
That's true, yeah. The Ron Perlman one was like a barrel chest sort of thing.
He was...
kind of like the actual comic.
Exactly. He looked like a Mike Mignola drawing, and I actually appreciated that Perlman's Hellboy was a little on the paunchier side, because it's like, yeah, you know, He's the frickin', you know, devil. He doesn't need to be a bodybuilder. He's intimidating enough. And also, being a bit paunchy helped differentiate him from, like, the Christian Bales and all the other superheroes of the day. I liked that he wasn't super fit.
Yeah.
I mean, he was still huge.
Yeah, but this costume just looks exactly the same.
I know. It's so hilarious. And they made such a big deal out of it where they're like, oh, look how new and different and interesting it is. I'm like, no, it's not.
No, it's completely not.
If anything, this makes me appreciate the Guillermo del Toro version even more now, to be like, man, you guys nailed it on your first go.
Yeah, and that's like the standard now.
Yeah, for real. Did you hear the story around the campfire there that apparently Mignola, one of the big reasons they're pushing to get this reboot out here and to do this right now is that he was actually unhappy with Del Toro's version because he felt way too many people were associating the Hellboy brand with Del Toro and his ideas and not Mignola and his.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people that like the movies don't realize that Hellboy isn't the comic Hellboy. It's not really Guillermo del Toro-ish in the comic.
No.
So yeah, I think that's probably what he was getting mad at, that people thought that he did such a good job with it at adapting it.
Yeah, it's like...
He kind of didn't. He kind of did his own thing.
He took the characters and the concept and kind of ran with it. From what I understand, and again, I can neither confirm nor deny this, but I've heard stories. Apparently, Mignola is like, he's a little crotchety if you meet him at conventions and whatnot. One person told me a story of them taking like one of their old Marvel books that Mignola had done to get him to sign, and apparently he was kind of pissy when people give him stuff to sign that's not stuff that's his like creator-owned shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's like, that's not nice.
Nah.
Come on, Mike. Come on. Don't be like that, man. Why you gotta be that way? We're all out here trying to have fun, all the flavors in the world, and you gotta be salty. Allegedly. Allegedly, I can neither confirm nor deny this. So, yeah, from movie news to comic news, we actually got some pretty big stories this week. There was a big Marvel solicitation leak for December that we'll talk about later on, but we also got to hear what DC was doing September, and there's some pretty big writer and creative shakeups happening. There is
some really good ones.
This one made me sad, but then I worked it out. Tim Seeley will be off Nightwing as of issue 30, which breaks my heart because Seeley has been with the book since frickin' the Grayson days and onward. I think he's been writing maybe one of the best Nightwing runs ever since like the Grayson era.
Yep.
Which I know that's confusing that there was a writer on Nightwing whose last name was literally Grayson. Doesn't that fuck you up? God help us if there's ever a Batman writer whose last name is Wayne. That'll be super confusing. Or a Superman writer whose last name is Kent. They'd be like, you gotta change that shit. That's just too confusing.
Yeah, people are gonna think the character's writing the story.
Dude, well, you see, when I write, I do like to consider that I become the character. It's my process. No, but if your name is the same, whatever. But yeah, he's off the book as of issue 35. Which is sad to me because it seemed like he liked that so much that he was never ever going to give it up, that he was going to stick on that until they fire him. But no, he's going to be off as of issue 35, and they're cycling in Sam Humphries, the dude who is, everyone's really digging right now for his Green Lantern's work. But he's also the dude who wrote probably one of my favorite Secret Wars tie-in stories. He wrote the Planet Hulk one. I like him. I think he'll do a good job. He's also like doing some crazy shit for Valiant at the moment. He's a much in demand writer. He's a writer on the rise.
Yeah, his Green Lantern stuff at the moment's really cool. So I'm kind of interested to see what he's going to do with Nightwing. I've not been reading Nightwing, but I've been following it because you've been reading it. And sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, his new run is subtitled "The Untouchables," is what this one is going to be.
Cool.
Which, I mean, hey, obviously I can't hear The Untouchables without thinking of the movie, so I just imagine Dick Grayson giving, like, the Sean Connery speech, when they put one of ours in the hospital, we'll put one of them in the morgue, Batman! No, Dick, don't. Don't do that, that's bad, Dick. Also, Bernard Chang is going to be doing the art for this one. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think Nightwing will be in good hands. I think this will be a very easy transition, and of course, with Seeley off that book, the question has to be begged: what could he possibly be writing else for DC? Because I think he's DC exclusive at the moment.
Yeah, well, he's doing the that Nightwing Elseworlds book.
No, that's Kyle Higgins.
Oh, Kyle Higgins, yeah.
Higgins is doing that. Seeley, I think he's doing like a new Vertigo thing for them as well. That's the last new thing they announced that he was doing.
Yeah, he could be doing some of that Dark Universe stuff. The new characters they're introducing, the Terrifics or something, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think he does have a new Dark Universe book. I don't know which one he pulled, but I think he does have one.
Yeah.
So there you go. I guess I'll follow him over to that. Man, I'd like to see him take on another Bat title at some point. Like, I thought the few times he wrote Batgirl, he had a pretty good handle on her. I'd like to see him take a swing at that character.
That'd be pretty cool.
Hell, he clearly has a love and affinity for Huntress, and I don't know what's been happening over in Batgirl and the Birds of Prey, but I think that would be a pretty organic switchover.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Also, as of issue 35, I mean, he had a very, very long run. I mean, I think we're like over a year now into DC Rebirth, and only as of like issue 35-ish are we starting to see like actual creative teams change around, which is pretty impressive that they've kept them for that long.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that with this week, whereas this week a lot of comics, they sort of got to that point where it's taken a turn where it's into like chapter 2 sort of thing. And they're starting to go into, like, Rebirth Year 2.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that happening. And speaking of writer shakeups over at DC Comics, Matt and I have been waiting with bated breath to find out who's going to be taking Justice League from Brian Hitch. And we finally have our answer, and I don't think any of us could have guessed this guy.
No.
It's Christopher Priest, who, of course, has been revolutionizing Deathstroke right now.
Yeah, he's been doing Deathstroke. He's been doing Inhumans over at Marvel.
Yeah.
Both books are really good, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to this.
We also got Pete Woods on art, so it's going to be a pretty, pretty book.
Yeah, he's probably one of my favorite Superman artists.
Yeah, so I mean, Superman's going to look great. Everyone's going to look great. I even appreciate Christopher Priest's pitch that he's apparently come in here with, and that is, he wants to explore the idea of why the Justice League is a team and why they work together. He says, I think he said he wanted to make it kind of like a workplace procedural in a way.
Yeah, and the first story sounds really cool as well. It involves Batman fucking up, which is something that doesn't happen very often.
A very Christopher Priest thing to do. He's very good at writing human, flawed characters, and I think they could really bring that to the Justice League, especially because one of my problems with the Hitch run is that character took such a back seat to spectacle.
Yep.
And you can only take so much spectacle before you're like, hey, can I get a little substance here, please? Can I get a little something?
Yep.
So yeah, definitely color me interested for that. This is totally the sort of radical, crazy creator shakeup that would want to make me hop back in with Justice League, and I hope I enjoy it.
Definitely.
Because I'm not reading any of the Justice League books right now, and that's unfortunate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not reading any of them. I had high hopes for Justice League of America. Didn't keep my interest.
Huh.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Another thing over at Marvel that they're really hoping will keep your interest. Hey, Matt, you know that new Venom movie that's happening?
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately.
I mean, maybe it's happening, it got delayed, who the fuck knows now. But apparently Marvel wants you to know about it because they're hoping that Venom will become a big important part of the Marvel Universe again, because after Edge of Venomverse, oh, get ready, because we're getting another big Venom-centric event. Or not event, crossover. They're not using the word event anymore. This is a crossover between two books. It hardly constitutes an event.
I'm not even reading any Venom books. I didn't even know, like, Venomverse was like a thing until I saw it, like when I was ordering comps. I'm like, what the hell is this? Is this an event that's happening?
I know, right? It's like we have like Venom blindness, where it's like, nope, don't see it, can't see it.
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted that new Venom book to be good, but I got really heartbroken when it wasn't Flash Thompson, and then it was clear they're like, oh man, we really fucked up with this new guy. Bring Eddie back. Legacy, bring Eddie back. And then I'm like, okay, well, have they ever addressed Flash Thompson? Have they ever addressed this weird changeover? No, they haven't, but they promised that this new crossover, Venom Inc, will do just that. Because the whole story, which isn't a terrible setup, all things considered, Lee Peace, the shitty new Venom that they had for like a whole arc when the new Venom book came out, he lost the symbiote back to Eddie Brock, but now he's back and he's evil, and he hunts down Manic, who was the sidekick of Flash Thompson. She had like a symbiote too, but it was more than just a symbiote. It was like a demon-possessed symbiote.
Okay.
Yeah, he steals, I'm going to assume kill, I don't know, her, takes her symbiote and becomes a new Venom character called Maniac or Manic.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And then he declares war on all the other former Venoms, so he comes after Eddie Brock and Peter Parker, which means that they have to team up, Spider-Man and Venom, but also Flash Thompson is there too, so he's teaming up with them as well. My hope is at the end of this, it's like, okay, cool, you got another extra symbiote. Can Flash come back now? Mark my words, that's what's going to happen. At the end of this, Flash Thompson will become Maniac or whatever. He'll take that other symbiote. And it's like, there you go. Now you have your cake and eat it too. Now you got Venom as Spider-Man, you got Flash as a guy. It's like, no, but we like Flash as Venom, though. You just can't put another suit on him. Although, honestly, here's the thing. Like, I liked that Flash Thompson Venom book, but the fact of the matter is I liked it because of him, not because he was Venom, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Him being Venom was a cool little icing on the cake, but I will say for like those first couple volumes before that book really got rolling, it was one of the only instances where I'm like, hey, can you stop all this superhero action for a second? Can you go back to just sad guy in a wheelchair, like talking about life and stuff and his relationship with Peter Parker? Can we just go back to that for a minute?
Yeah, that's the stuff that works.
Yeah, can we talk more about his abusive shitheel dad and why he was a bully in high school? That's actually really interesting. One of my favorite images from that early book is actually it's Peter and Flash, like they're having like dinner together with Betty, their mutual friend, and they're sitting together on the couch, and neither one knows that one is Spider-Man and the other is Venom, and it's actually a really well done little piece.
I like when they used to do that sort of stuff with Spider-Man.
Yeah, I would like to see some more of that. So that's Venom Inc, everybody. It's going to be running through the Venom book, written by Mike Costa, and it's going to be running through Amazing Spider-Man, so Slott's got that. It looks to be a 4-part crossover.
So it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a huge world-ending event.
Well, no, they actually do seem to be saying that it's a lot smaller, which I can kind of appreciate. I mean, fuck, can't be worse than Clone Conspiracy.
So what you're saying is it's just a story, but because it's DC, every story is an event.
Or Marvel, every story is an event.
Yeah, every Marvel...
That's their new thing they're running with for Legacy. Every story's an event. Or every book is an event unto itself.
What a motto.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, so everyone's kind of tedious and costs more and is hard to follow sometimes. Yes. Yes. And speaking of Marvel and odd decisions that they've been making as of recently, well, actually, no, that's the next one. Sorry, I'll actually save that one for the very end, because that's a bit of a spoiler, and I may need to put up a tag on that one, so I'll move that around. Instead, I'll talk about Marvel Tales of Suspense is coming back as a brand new miniseries. Have you heard this, Matt? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
I have, and I'm actually kind of excited for it.
Yes, it's written by Matthew Rosenberg, who is probably one of my favorite up-and-coming Marvel writers right now. He wrote that amazing Kingpin miniseries. He's been writing Secret Warriors. He's got a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipeline. And this Tales of Suspense, even though it borrows the title of a famous Marvel anthology series, a famous horror series, this one is actually going to explain what happened with Black Widow at the end of Secret Empire.
Yeah, we kind of got a hint about it in Secret Empire Omega.
Yes, which we will talk about.
And yeah, that's going to be quite interesting. It involves Hawkeye and Bucky, doesn't it?
Yes, Hawkeye and Winter Soldier are going to be the two main characters on this one, who are, of course, two people who have an invested interest in finding what happened to Black Widow, because they both loved her very much.
They did.
Yeah, which I guess kind of makes them wiener bros now. Which will probably be an awkward conversation for them at some point. Be like, hey, let's both work together to find our ex of whom we have a complicated relationship with. Yeah, let's do it. Buddy, bro, fist pump. That's why I don't get to write these crossovers. That's how I would write it. Just very stilted, fucked up dialogue. I'm sure Matthew Rosenberg will write a much more interesting story than me.
Yeah, you're the guy who just does the general pitch.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, man, I got my elevator pitch. I get someone else to write it. I hope, too, that this one actually has a pretty good answer, because as we'll talk about when we get to Secret Empire Omega, there's a couple choices they make and a couple retcons they do where I'm like, weak. Just weak. But you know what's not weak, Matt?
What's that?
They finally named the writer for that Human Torch Thing 2-in-1 series, and it's Chip Zdarsky.
Yeah, so the book's going to be really fun.
It's going to be really fun, it's going to be really funny, and I even love the subtitle for this first storyline. It's called The Fate of the Four.
Yeah, and yeah, it kind of seems to be like they're going to go looking for Reed and Sue or something.
Yeah, which, I mean, isn't that what you should have been doing all along, guys? Not to criticize you.
Well, it's only because they've just seen Ben's just seen the devil take on the form of Reed and all this other stuff. They're like, hey, yeah, whatever happened to those guys?
And I mean, Johnny was an Avenger, and he was on the Inhumans for a bit, and he was stupping Medusa, so he's been busy. He's had a lot of things going on.
The rights with Fox, the right war with Fox is in a good place this week, so they got that.
Yeah. So they got to have this, and I'm sure the gods of the Marvel Universe you get this team-up book and you be fucking happy about it. You're the only two people cared about anyway until they stopped caring about them. So you get a book, but that's it. Can maybe some of the kids come back? Maybe you can see grown-up Franklin Richards in the future. Maybe.
Maybe.
If we're feeling generous. But everything else will be vague, because frickin' Perlmutter has dug his heels in, so, don't expect it anytime soon.
No.
But, yeah, I mean, this is a positive story. I mean, I was going to read that book anyway, just because kind of what it meant and what it represented, but now I'm really interested in it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I have high hopes for that one. And I guess our last story now is the one where I kind of got to put up the spoiler warning for, because this is part of the accidentally leaked December solicitations for Marvel. So if you don't want the big mystery of which Marvel character will be returning in Legacy, that thing they've been bounding about since they first announced it, if you don't want that spoiled for you, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put up my hands like this, and when I put them down again, it's safe to come back. How does that sound?
Yeah, when Joel puts his hands up like this, I've got to put up a spoiler thing, so it means more editing for me.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so here's the thing. So in the solicitation that we saw, apparently there's a brand new miniseries book that's literally called Return of Jean Grey the Phoenix.
Yeah, I don't know why people are flipping out about it, because if anyone's been reading her solo book, you'll know it's been happening for quite a while now.
Yeah, but I mean, that's, one of those, pardon the pun here, one of those dark horse books that has a cult following. But you're right, I don't think a lot of people knew what was going on in it anyway. But there you go, everyone. old Jean Grey's coming back, and she's going to be here to stay, assumedly.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen with the young Jean Grey. Maybe she'll go back to her time or something.
It seems an odd fucking choice, doesn't it, seeing all the time and effort they put into these new young X-Men. To just be like, okay, adult Cyclops is dead. Young Cyclops is the one and only Cyclops now, even though, you know, he's like generationally out of touch with everyone that he should have relationships with. But okay, here's old Jean again out of the blue, despite the fact that we cared enough about young Jean Grey to give her her own or give her her own ongoing series. What?
Yeah, it's very strange. I don't know what they have planned for them at all.
It's like someone at the X-Men office isn't steering the fucking ship or something.
They just left it on autopilot.
They just left it. It's like, fine, this'll work itself out. Also, too, I haven't been reading Astonishing X-Men. I've been collecting the first arc, and I'm going to read it in one go. But aren't they teasing the return of Professor X in that as well?
Yes and no. He's like a prisoner of Farouk or something. It's very unclear whether he actually is like Professor X, but
or isn't.
Yeah, it's really strange.
Okay, so hands down, spoiler time is over. That's who it was. I mean, it is what it is. I think a lot of people had like a lot more interesting ideas of who it could possibly be. Like, oh, maybe it'll be the old Wolverine returning. Maybe it'll be the Fantastic Four coming back. Apparently, it was none of those.
No, it very maybe that could lead to them coming back, but yeah, very strange character choices.
I would argue on the list of characters people really want to return in Marvel that this particular character was actually pretty low down the pecking order, because said character has been gone for a very long time and has had very little impact in that time.
Yeah, but only like with this Jean Grey story is like the first time in a while we have actually seen an older Jean Grey.
Yeah.
Like that in Generations.
Yeah, so I don't frickin' know. Hey, but you know what? It's no skin off my ass because I'm not reading any of these particular books, so I'm sure it will have no impact in anything I'm reading at the moment.
No. Although every story is an event.
Every story is an event. Saying every story is an event in and of in itself, is this our new creativity over continuity?
I was just thinking that. Just thinking that.
God damn, Legacy hasn't even started yet, and Matt's already comparing it to DCU. Fuck. Well, actually, it's funny. At least one of these stories we talked about, I'm sure you know, Matt, because you're all on the Reddits and the Chans and everything else with your hula hoops and your rock musics. You saw there the quote-unquote supposed, leaked insider information from Marvel. Mm-hmm. With big finger quotes, which a lot of it sounded very like fan. It sounded very much like a fan wrote it, and they were doing like, pie in the sky predictions. Admittedly, like predictions of stuff that was probably going to happen anyway. But one of the things that actually did kind of come true for that thing is that Venom was going to be more important, or that Venom was going to be thrust into the spotlight.
Yeah, but then again, that's something like any fan could like pick up on because it's a movie coming out, and
because it always fucking happens.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if tomorrow, like, frickin' Black Cat and Silver Sable got a goddamn miniseries, you'd be like, oh yeah, because the movie. Well, yeah, obviously they always do that.
Yeah.
I just thought that was kind of funny that it hit so close after. But yeah, so that's the news, everybody, this week. We killed at least half an hour talking about that, and I suppose from there we can hop on over to what we read this week, and it was a big week.
It was, and I know books that people want us to talk about first, but they're going to have to wait until the end to listen to them.
Oh shit, is Matt making a new mandate now? Are we moving it around now? Is it the least important books to start and the most important parts to the end as to help, help retention?
Yes, they're going to have to wait.
Let that be a lesson to all you would-be up-and-coming YouTubers. Always leave them waiting, always leave them wanting more. So, would you like to go first, Matt, on our first talking about what we read this week with the cameras and such?
Yeah, let me just pull up my list here.
I also need to pull up my list to see what I fucking read.
What do we got? Okay, Mr. Miracle issue 2.
Oh yeah, I did read this one. I wasn't sure if I was going to stick with it. I liked the first issue, but it was one of those things where it's like, should I be like Vision and wait till it's all done? But I did read this, and I did like it.
I did. It's completely different compared to the first one. The first one was like this introspective look into depression and stuff. This one's much more simpler and linear. It actually has a linear story. And,
sure does.
And sets out everything, and sets out some pretty big stuff as well.
It does. Like, this actually feels like this could have, like, lasting repercussions on the New Gods and the DC cosmic spectrum.
It does. It was a cool look into, I guess, Scott and Barda's life as generals for Orion, who doesn't really like Scott, and Scott doesn't really like him.
No, because they got that whole, like, sibling rivalry going on, which is funny because they're not really siblings, not related by blood anyway. And with, with Highfather gone, friggin' Orion says, okay, I'm the new Highfather now, and you all have to listen to me.
Yeah, and what he says is basically, you gotta kill Granny Goodness.
Yeah, the most trusted general of Darkseid's loyalist army, but also, you know, has kind of a weird relationship with Scott and Barda because she is essentially their mother. She's the one that raised them, even though, you know, I say raised in finger quotes too. She basically just tortured the shit out of both of them growing up.
Yeah.
But in an interesting twist that Tom King decides to, you know, kind of latch onto here, Scott Free has a weird kind of like Stockholm Syndrome thing with Granny Goodness that we've never really seen before.
Yeah, he kind of likes her, whereas Barda doesn't, and yeah, it's very strange.
It's one of those, like, well, sure, she was terrible, but she was also, like, the only parent I ever knew for a long time. So it's like, I can't hold that against her, and also, like, I'm feeling kind of weak and vulnerable right now after my fucked up suicide attempt, so, you know.
Yeah.
And even Granny's, like, especially weird in this one, because she invites them all in, and then they have Jell-O. In the face of Darkseid, like in the shape of Darkseid's head.
Yeah.
Which just, yeah, I mean, those would be the type of Jell-O molds she had, and indeed, if they had those Jell-O molds, I'd make some Darkseid Jell-O.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want some Darkseid Jell-O?
Yeah, I don't know why it was green. Why didn't they make it red?
For the Omega Sanction.
Blue.
Well, it's like, so... Yeah, it's like, well, so much of this was already caked in red, I can see why they might go that direction. But yeah, again, very, very weird, very mind-bendy, we don't know if what we're seeing is reality or not.
Yeah, and we get some pretty cool stuff at the end where Granny kind of says that maybe Scott's Darkseid's son?
Yes, that maybe, the famous switcheroo that we always thought to be the case, that is, Scott got traded for Orion, etc., etc. It might actually have been the other way around. And I mean, it would make sense because, you know, Granny's all about, like, lying and betrayal and everything, and we discovered that she was actually Highfather's mole inside Darkseid's empire.
Yep.
Which, again, kind of casts everything in a new, interesting light, where it's like, huh, you know, if that's true.
Yeah.
And because of that's true, too, Orion is kind of being painted to be the villain at this point in the story right now, that maybe he killed Highfather to try and, you know, take control of New Genesis for himself.
Yeah, well, he is kind of a dick. He's
always been a dick.
Yeah, and I could see that happening. I could see that being the case.
That would be an interesting direction for his character after all these years of fighting against his Darkseid heritage and everything, to basically be like, you know what, fuck it, I am a bad guy after all.
Yeah, he's just gotten sick of playing the good guy.
Yeah, I lied to myself for so long, I actually am a super bad guy, and because I'm a super bad guy, I can easily be, you know, Mr. Miracle and Barda's arch nemesis.
Yeah.
Another funny thing about this issue, and I'm sure you caught on to this too, this one got a little cheeky, if you don't mind me saying it. We got a full-on ass shot in this issue, which I was not expecting.
Yeah, we did. I don't mind.
No, I don't mind either, because it's Big Barda's ass, which is a fine ass, after all. But I just couldn't stop and think to myself there, I'm like, well, so they're actually able to do this now? I assume that was, like, against some sort of, like, you know, editorial mandate.
I guess because it's a mini... And it's technically not in continuity.
That we know of.
Yeah, well, I don't think it will be, because Orion's in Hal Jordan in the Green Lantern Corps at the moment, and he's dead, so...
Oh, well, shit. I guess that changes everything, doesn't it?
He's young in that, so unless this takes place in the future...
Right, I guess that does change some shit.
Yeah.
All be... Is that everything you had to say about that one? It's solid.
Yeah, it's a really good book.
it's an interesting series. I can't wait to see what happens next with it. And I can say it's also nice to say I like a Tom King thing after shitting on his Batman for as long as I did.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to actually be like, nah, you know, you're all right, King. You're all right. I guess a book I had this week, because we're doing these in kind of reverse order. I read Deadpool number 36, which is the finale, more or less, of the Deadpool book as it stands right now before Despicable Deadpool starts up.
Right. Yeah.
Did you get a chance to read this yet? I know you read the tie-ins.
I have, but I haven't read it fully. I've only read like flip through it.
Well, I mean, basically flipping through it tells the story. This is Deadpool with no friends, no family, and no hope, going around and burning down every, like, shred of his old life to start anew.
So basically, like, where he was at the end of the last issue, where he was in that bar drinking, he decided, fuck everything.
Yep, this is the continuation of that. He gives his daughter and the Prestons some money so they can basically run away and start a new life. And he says, you know, well, hey, if my daughter can survive having me as a father, she can survive anything. Then she flips him off, and they drive away, and we never see them again.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, that's hurtful. And then, like, Mr. Preston is like, you know, we never found my wife's body. Where's her body, Wade? And he didn't answer. And I'm like, well, this is fucking dark.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and then we're reminded out of the blue, too. It's like, hey, remember before Secret Empire happened, Deadpool cured a disease that his daughter and the Prestons had with the help of Strife, Cable's evil clone brother, whatever you want to call him thing.
Mm-hmm.
And as part of the payment for that, Strife says, okay, now you gotta kill 4 people for me on my hit list. And no surprise, the first person on his hit list is Cable. You gotta go kill Cable for me now. And also, hey, because I'm a dickhead and a time traveler, if you don't do it, I can find your daughter at any point of history and murder her, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, yeah.
So you've just lost every other friend and connection in your life. Now I'm telling you to go kill Cable, your oldest friend. So, you know, everybody hates on Deadpool. The universe just takes a giant, massive dump on Deadpool for 22 pages.
Oh, God. And I guess that's probably why he decides to go back to being a villain.
Yes, that's what... His mind is completely broken. He literally rides off into the sunset with a bunch of guns at the end of this issue.
Awesome.
Yeah, and like Jerry Duggan's like, man, you built him a beautiful life, didn't you? You gave him friends and connections and made him an Avenger and really wrote a happy, meaningful time in Deadpool's life. And then you took perverse glee in burning it all down. Literally. Like, literally, Deadpool starts like 3 or 4 fires in this issue.
Oh, Jesus.
Fire is the cleanser, fire is the cleanser. Burn it all down, start from scratch. To me, it very much had shades of like Bendis's time on Daredevil, when it's like, you know, Matt Murdock's life got a little too nice and a little too happy. Well, time to take a sledgehammer to this. And that's what they did, and it was heart-wrenching, and it was horrifying, but it was really good, too. I liked it.
Ah, that's good. What else do I have? Detective Comics, issue 964.
Yes. What'd you think of this one?
It was pretty good. It was, I guess, the ending of the Anarchy story. Ooh,
yeah, the little
ending,
twofer. Quote unquote.
Yeah. I kind of alright, but it was kind of something I expected. I didn't expect Anarchy to be good. It was kind of like, of course he's going to be working with someone evil like the Victim Syndicate.
His name is fucking Anarchy. Listen to him.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed the Clayface story of this, and I think it should have been...
That was the best part.
It should have been the main story of this.
Well, it ended up being in a funny way, because in the issue previous to this, the Anarchy story was the A plot, and what was happening with Clayface was B plot. Here it's the other way around. The Clayface stuff is longer, takes up more time, and the Anarchy stuff is B. It's like the writer halfway through said, you know what, this Clayface stuff is much more interesting than this Anarchy stuff, and he was right.
Yeah, they were right, and it really was. I really enjoyed it, especially with him going and seeing the Victim Syndicate Clayface. I think it's like Mudface or something. Yeah, Mudface is her name. Yeah, and how they had a relationship before that, because she was like her friend. She was his assistant. Yeah, I thought it might have been assistant, and yeah, he's kind of responsible for her being made of clay. Because and I like the line she says as well. It's like, oh, a cure is all good and well, but you're the one who did hold me under burning chemicals and turned me into this.
Melted off.
So there's nothing you can really do against that.
That was so horrifying. It's basically, it was a very BoJack Horseman moment where it's like, look, you're not going to find your redemption and forgiveness here, Basil. If that's the only reason you're here, you better leave. And that totally fucks him up for later in the day when they're supposed to be doing experiments with his monster form to see about curing him.
Yeah, yeah.
And, like, he's totally off his game, and he freaks out, and he turns into, like, probably the most monstrous version of him we've ever seen.
Yeah, yeah, he tries to kill Victoria October, and then Cassie.
Yeah, who is, like, his one true friend. Steps in to stop him. And it's really good, too, because, you know, it's like he's at his absolute lowest at the end of this story. You know, he's broken. He's like, you know, maybe she's right. Maybe I will always be a monster. Maybe I can never change what's inside. Only for Cassandra to, like, you know, comfort him and be like, hey, you and I are basically going through the same thing. It's really nice. They forged a really sweet, really organic friendship, and I dig that.
Yeah, monsters stick together.
Yeah, they really do. And she's like, no, I'm the one friend you'll never chase away. And I'm like, oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they set up more stuff with the Victim Syndicate, that they're going to be coming back and they're going to be villains again. And also, Batman finally speaks the words in this issue, hey, Tim Drake is totally alive. So he knows now, and I can only assume that's going to be the next arc, him going after Tim Drake.
I think it is, because at the end it says the next arc's going to be Lonely Place of Living, and I think that's the Tim Drake arc.
Yes, which is a reference to a famous Batman story, Lonely Place of Dying. Because it's flipped now, because he's alive, get it? That's good, solid writing. Morrison was a big fan of that, too, where it's like, what was one of his favorite things there? Batman Dies at Dawn, which is a reference to the famous Robin Dies at Dawn. Which lots of writers have reused, because it's just a fun thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that ended up being a good story. It wasn't my favorite for the week, but it was still pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty solid.
Yeah, it was solid. It was a good workman-like comic, is what I would call it. What else did we have? Ooh, I had Defenders #5 this week.
Yeah, I've got to pick up that series now that it's on 5 issues.
Yeah, it's not quite done yet. This was the penultimate, it would seem like.
Oh, okay then.
It's really good, because, you know, in the previous issue, they thought they had defeated the resurrected Diamondback. They thought they had it all under control, only he breaks out, and it's like a big, you know, kind of like manhunt throughout the city streets of New York to try and find him. And they break up in interesting ways. Jess goes with Luke to go chase a lead, and Danny and Daredevil go to chase a lead. This has probably been the funniest issue that Bendis has done in a while. Like, the jokes all really hit really hard in this issue.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, because they're still playing with the idea that the Defenders team doesn't know who Daredevil is at this point after he changed the whole world's mind. There's a great bit where, like, Iron Fist is trying really hard to get Daredevil to open up and talk about himself. And it's like, hey, man, you know, why do you wear a mask? And he's like, oh, you know, I want to inspire fear in people and everything. It's like, oh, well, really? Because it kind of seems like the opposite for that. Why do you really use it? And he's like, you know, it's a problem I have. And he goes, oh, what is it? Too famous? No, too handsome. That's where I wear the mask. I'm too handsome.
Yeah, people will know.
People will know. And then, of course, we find out that Elektra is involved, and if Elektra is involved, probably the Hand is involved, and it's just a whole big, interesting thing. If you love the Netflix Marvel Universe, you're going to love this, too. It's probably one of the most enjoyable, purest Bendis projects in a long time.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, really, really good crime neo-noir just falls out of the guy.
Cool, cool.
This book's a winner, although it's funny, this book actually has some catching up to do because Daredevil is still in his red and black costume in this.
Oh, okay.
So this book actually has some catching up to do with the main Daredevil book. I wonder if it will, or if I wonder if they'll just keep him in red and black.
Yeah, yeah.
And be like, hey, all this happens before this.
Yeah, they could easily do that.
They could, and that's like how they mark out the time and everything. But yeah, that one was good. It's funny, this issue teases the death of Black Cat. I'm like, they're not going to kill her, not when there might be a movie coming on the way.
No, they're not going to kill her.
That's them just teasing. Another funny thing this book does is that characters from the story actually do the recap at the very beginning of each issue.
Oh, okay.
So you get, like, Phil Urich doing a recap. You get, like, in this issue, The Punisher did a recap of the events of the story. And he's like, yeah, you know, the Defenders, they put a fucking team together, but they don't kill like me, so they suck. It's great because every character recaps the story, but they do it in their voice.
Yeah, their own way, yeah.
It's a really nice gimmick. I hope they keep doing it. It's quite fun. But yeah, so Defenders was good. What else did you have, Matt?
Cool. I had New Superman issue 15.
Ah, that's the Keenan Khan one. Everyone's waiting for us to talk about action, but they'll have to hear about this first.
Yeah, they have to hear about this first.
When he says New Superman, he means the book New Superman, not the New Superman book.
This one was the death of Superman. Literally, we had Keenan fight Doomsday, or a Doomsday.
Oh shit!
That the evil I Ching guy that we don't really know who he is really changes the recently killed Emperor Superman into a Doomsday weapon against Keenan, and he not only has to deal with that, he has to deal with the Suicide Squad as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. They showed up for a cameo, didn't they?
Yeah, they're the ones that killed the Emperor Superman, and they were there to kill Keenan as well. But they got their asses handed to them by the Justice League of China. And yeah, they kind of disappeared from the book. I'm not really sure what happened to them. I know the Doomsday weapon was kind of like a distraction so they could escape, but...
They disappeared because they have to show up in the Dark Knight's tie-in from this week.
Yeah, we gotta go back to America. There's like weirdo Batman floating around, so yeah.
Man, we're fucking busy. Governmental contracts and at least 2 books we gotta show up in.
Yeah, but the way they did it as well, they did it panel for panel recreation of Superman's fight with Doomsday, like
really
with Keenan and this Doomsday, and they had
that's impressive.
Falling like hitting the Doomsday at the same time, and then both dying at the same time. And when he dies, he gets transported back to 1937.
Oh,
but not 1937 in the DC universe. 1937 in Action Comics issue Detective Comics issue 1.
Oh shit, is that why they brought like one of the dudes from the old covers back? I guess that makes sense now.
Yep, he's there, and he says that because Keenan asks where he is, who this guy is, and he says, well, both those questions have the same answer, and that is the beginning.
Oh shit, wow.
So yeah, I have no idea what's going on, but the interesting thing is, and I can't believe that the writer and artist did this, they actually drew the Asian people like they did back in 1937.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess because it's an Asian team, this is them doing commentary on how Asians were represented in comics back in the 30s, and the answer is not great.
I guess so, yeah. And they've even gone back to like that old sort of like coloring thing where it's all certain colors, and it's like got those really big half-tone dots and everything, and
because printers weren't as advanced as they were now, you had to make do with what you had.
Yeah.
That's really impressive, actually. That's like some Grant Morrison shit right there.
Yeah, I have no idea what the hell is going on, but it's really cool.
I like it when comics do that, when comics talk about comics as a medium and as an art form and where they've been and where they're going and stuff.
Yeah.
That's impressive, man. From what I understand, I dropped off like New Superman, but like apparently that book continues to impress with where it's going.
Yeah, it's like it's one book I keep thinking like, oh, is it going to get cancelled this week? Is it going to get cancelled this week? But apparently, like, loads of people really love it.
Nothing's really been cancelled.
I can see
Nothing
why.
has really been cancelled from DC Rebirth so far.
No.
Which is really interesting. That's cool, and I know I like it when Keenan shows up in other stuff. He showed up in quite a few Superman outings so far. They're doing a good job integrating him into the Superman family.
Yeah, I said it when I reviewed when I did my review of Supergirl. Like they've been, because she had a team up with Superwoman this week, and they've been doing like all these like team ups with them, and they've been really unique. They haven't just been Superman teaming up with someone. They've been, you know, Superwoman teaming up with Supergirl. I think she's going to be teaming up with Keenan very soon, and so all kind of unique and everything, and it leads to some really cool character moments.
Definitely. What else did I have this week that I can talk about? feel like I'm forgetting. I keep wanting to say one of the big ones, but I know we got at least 3 big ones that we got to save to like the end of the show there. I know there's some ones I haven't read yet. I haven't read Spider-Man yet. I haven't read Miss Marvel yet. I'm going to read these books. I just haven't quite had the time yet to hop on into them. What was another one? I think we got to talk about the big ones, Matt. I think unless you, I'll let you go back. How many more do you have before we get to talk about the big ones?
I've got one that we need to talk about before we talk about one of the big ones.
Okay, you do that then.
And that's Supergirl issue 13.
Yes, okay. Talk about. I know you were quite impressed with this on Twitter. You were talking about it.
Yeah, so Supergirl issue 13 is a continuation of the story that we saw in the annual, and that's with Emerald Empress sort of making her own Fatal Five and basically ruining Kara's reputation in National City and making her out to be a villain because they basically expose her for keeping Cyborg Superman alive and also release the information that she is his daughter.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, so the people absolutely hate her and everything, and then Indigo comes in. Indigo, the daughter or kinda of Brainiac, comes in.
Yikes.
and sort of takes over Supergirl's role. Sort of comes from the future and takes over her role. And
they're taking our gerbs from the future.
These Coluans.
these Coluans, they come through their time portals and they take our job from hardworking Kryptonians who were here first.
And yeah, Supergirl has to fight all these villains off while the city's fighting her and all this sort of stuff. But I feel like a father comes back to life, and he kind of kills Indigo, though Indigo's a robot, so
that's fine. They can rebuild her. They have the technology.
Yeah, and Supergirl didn't really like that, but he's got sealed back up in his tube and he's away. And Supergirl's life is kind of like where she is in the TV show at the moment. She's, I guess, kind of got to choose between either being Kara or Supergirl. And the DEO have kind of been fucked over, and they've got a new director, and that's Mr. Bones.
Oh.
Yeah, he's quite a pull.
As he sounds familiar. What has he been in, Mr. Bones? He sounds like someone.
I'm kind of blanking, but I know he was like the leader of the DEO at one point before.
Right, because that's a pull from the... Wasn't he like the original leader or something, now that I stop and think about it?
Yes, I think so.
Because it's like the TV show kind of took in its own direction, but it was a thing. I mean, well, let me ask you this about Mr. Bones. Does he have a big skull for a head like he used to?
Yes.
He does have a big skull for a head.
And he's got like an American tie, like American flag tie sort of thing, and he smokes, and yeah,
that's kind of amazing.
Yeah, he was the member of the DEO, Infinity Incorporated, which I'm surprised he's not involved in that. Yeah, he's basically like kind of Amanda Waller, I guess.
Yeah, in a way, he's like a weird '80s character, isn't he?
Yes, yeah, I think so. I think he was made in the '80s.
I'm trying to look like who created him. Because he seems like such a weird idea where it's like, yeah, how about a dude who's got like a freaking cyanide touch and he's just like a fucking big skull head man. He's Red Skull, only without the red.
While you're looking that up, you might want to fix your camera as well, because it's out of focus.
Oh shit, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh damn it. Why did that happen?
And now it's in focus.
all the joys of doing a live show, everybody. Anything can fuck up at any time. My dick could just flop out right now on camera and ruin everything.
I was just going to leave it and just have you out of focus for the rest of the show.
Oh yeah, because Matt would hate that, him being the only thing that can be seen.
Oh, that's alright, I think like my auto contrast is on, so it's probably playing hell with the camera at the moment. So.
Yeah, well, all the more fun for you when you get to edit this.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's again not the worst YouTuber screw up yet this week, though. Oh no, Joel's camera's out of focus. At least he didn't say anything horrible, though.
Scandal, out of focus camera, DCMA takedowns.
Motherfucker, Joel is ruining YouTube with his out of focus camera. He's a liability, and we all know it. When are people just going to talk about Joel's out of focus camera and how much of a problem it is? Why must we suffer for Joel's out of focus camera? Look, there's hardworking content creators out here, good content creators who just don't need that anymore. And with that, let's get on over to the books that people really wanted us to talk about this week.
Before we do that, I'll talk right about it. The epilogue of Supergirl, and that is Mr. Oz coming to visit Zor-El.
Oh shit! Oh, that's right, because as we know,
and he talks about how he succeeded in saving his daughter because he murdered people, and he's sort of detached from humanity and all that sort of stuff. But he might throw a kind of wrench into Mr. Oz's plan, so Mr. Oz just kills him, drowns him.
Wow, that's a pretty big fucking epilogue.
Yeah. It's 1 page, and I'm like, holy crap, where the hell did this come from?
That's a pretty important... It's funny, because, like, as you were telling the story, I'm like, Supergirl's dad. That's interesting, given what else happened this week. I wonder if these two characters are connected or will get a chance to talk. Apparently they did.
Yeah.
Didn't go well.
No, it didn't.
Popped off, as they might say. It really escalated quickly.
It did.
So, I guess because, let's leave the DC books for last. Let's talk about Secret Empire Omega now. How about that?
Yeah.
I didn't love it. I really didn't. I've been loving Secret Empire up until this point. I thought this one tried way too hard to wrap up a bunch of hanging plot threads, and you can literally feel the moment they took it away from Nick Spencer.
Yeah, I can see that. I liked it. I liked that it did that, and I liked that we got kind of like both Steves sort of laying out who they are on the table and just sort of...
That was nice.
Saying who they are and how they're different, but they're both kind of right in their own kind of screwed up ways.
I mean, it's definitely a moment where it's like, okay, Nick, you got two now. You got to justify this and make this make sense. So what you gonna do? What's your play here? And you'll notice, too, that, like, on Nick Spencer's Twitter, if you follow him, he made a point of saying where it's like, oh, well, both Captain Americas are real. It's just one is from a timeline that got deleted, is the thing. When Kobik fixed the timeline, she fixed everything else, and, the world that was altered. So, the Captain America that's made of dreams and everything is actually the real one. Only for, like, the first line of this issue to be like, oh, it's an alternate Captain America from an alternate universe. I'm like, oh, we're throwing alternates around now, are we? He wasn't alternate when this started, wasn't alternate in the previous issue. That was the real Captain America until shit got fucked. You can't, again, like, I imagine, like, Nick Spencer's writing the story, he's got his lime green Laser Quest pen out like I do now. And he's writing it down because he doesn't write on computers for some reason in the year 2017. And he gets a little editor's note, and they're like, Nick, that's great and everything, but Captain America really needs to wash his hands of this, and he needs to be 100% innocent. I know that completely goes against the story you were building, and it completely kneecaps any characterization or growth, but we got movies to think about, so make that work, fucker.
Well, he's kind of in a good position for the movie, because in the movies at the moment he's a war criminal and
true,
all that sort of stuff. But yeah,
but not a Hydra sympathizing war criminal.
Well, you don't know. You don't know.
A lot could happen in between movies. You're right.
I mean, Infinity War does include a reality gem. They could make a reality where Captain America... That'd actually be really cool.
That would be crazy. That'd be fucking crazy.
It's a possibility.
Which hey, they've said is going to be crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, I liked it. I liked the part where, like, Steve is like he was like helping people, and the people didn't want his help, and then he kind of realized that, like, this guy did like something really bad, and that is break the trust in the people.
Yeah, that was the best part.
I like that, and I like that the other Steve, the Hydra Steve, is like, I didn't do anything wrong. You guys gave me all the power.
Yeah, exactly. That is interesting from a legal point of view. It's like, how does one punish your alternate doppelganger who was given presidential powers, and, like, how do you do any of this? Like, seemingly no law should apply to him.
Oh, they'll catch him like pirating movies or something. Or...
They'll get him for tax evasion, like they got Capone.
He'll escape from prison, and that's something they can get him for.
Oh, I mean, they're already, like, you know, dropping those seeds where it's like, you know, a guard talks to him who... I get the feeling the guard might be Kraken, because that was another hanging plot thread. They didn't answer who is the new Kraken. But he's like, oh, hail Hydra, so, you know, it's only a matter of time before Evil Steve is out on the town again.
Yeah, and imagine that'll be, like, some big story in the new Captain America book or something.
Or maybe it won't be, is the thing. Maybe no one wants to touch it. I get the feeling like as soon as Secret Empire was done, as much as I loved it, and I dug the shit out of it, I feel like Marvel editorial's like, now, let's leave this. This was too hot for us. This was too raw and uncut. So let's just push that over here. Maybe wait 4 to 8 years, give or take, and maybe we'll touch this again.
Maybe. They need to make him another character, because he's not just going to be, like, Captain America. He'll be someone else.
I keep saying William Burnside's old identity, the Grand Director, that's still open. Go full, like, you know, the Two Americas, make reference to that old Brubaker story and have him come out as the Grand Director.
That'd be pretty cool. They need to change his name as well from Steve. And I keep saying, like, just go Steve's middle name, Grant. Just call him Grant Rogers.
Grant Rogers, there you go. That would be okay. Or, you know, because he's Steve and he's evil. He's like, I am now Steve-ul. Fear me, for I am Steve-ul. I stole that joke, by the way. That's Sal's joke, but I'm glad Matt liked it. But yeah, so it's like, that stuff was good. It's all the side stuff that kind of made me roll my eyes, where it's like, oh, now we got to put all the toys back in the box super quick. So it's like the Punisher's like, man, boy, did I back the wrong team with those evil fascist dudes. I gotta kill my way to redemption is what I need to do.
Yeah, I just gotta kill, but more fascists this time.
That's what I'll do. And like the Hydra guy's like, no, it's okay, we're on the same team, Dad.
I did notice that, like, I remember you saying that, like, maybe he was in that War Machine armor because his legs got fucked up by...
Yeah, apparently not.
Yeah, apparently he's just up and walking. I guess a couple of, like, bits of glass and knives to the legs is nothing for Frank these days.
Yeah. That's a Wednesday, motherfucker.
but it did look like S.H.I.E.L.D. maybe might recruit him or something.
Maybe that's how he
Nick
gets
Fury Jr., yeah.
Which is an idea they've toyed with before, where it's like, man, Frank Castle is an amazing killer of men. You know who needs men killed all the time? S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. And, yeah, maybe they need him just to be War Machine. Or, like, just have the armor. What I'm really surprised about is, like, how long James Rhodes has stayed dead.
It's true, yeah. You'd think they'd bring him back, and now, but it's like now we have a glut of Iron People between Doom and Riri and the USA Avengers one. We have more Iron People now than we ever did.
I imagine once Tony comes back, he'll probably come back, so they can have like the Tony Rhodey duo.
There you go. You know, it's funny, you know, we brought up the Punisher thing. I think I know how the War Machine storyline's going to start. Nick Fury Jr. is going to come to him and be like, hey, Frank, buddy, how you doing? You know you're a wanted war criminal now, right? And, like, Hydra sympathizer, and, like, that's bad, but tell you what, here's a War Machine armor, go kill our enemies as your work release program. How does that sound?
This is your community service.
This is your community. We got all these third world dictators who are really dicking us around right now, all these evil Russians and everything. Tell you what, go kill the shit out of them in this awesome Iron Man armor, and we'll call it Squaresy. How does that sound?
I wonder though if he'll go after the other Steve. And maybe team up with like Deadpool or something, because I know Deadpool's going after him.
Deadpool makes a point of saying, like, look, if I ever see that Steve again who played me like a fiddle, I'm going to kill him. And actually, if I ever see regular Steve again, I'm going to kill him too.
Yeah.
Now, that would be a team-up, Deadpool Punisher versus the Grand Director. Be like, hey, man, we feel really bad about being sympathizers to this horrible shit. We feel really bad about it. And then to have Deadpool to be like, look, I did horrible things, but I did my horrible things for love. What did you do them for, Frank? You give me a lot of guns and money and a blank check for mayhem? Oh, okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough when you put it that way. And then, of course, the other side story, which is the one with Black Widow and Hawkeye and everything, and that's enough to constitute its own miniseries. That's how interested they are in putting that one back in the bottle, that particular genie.
Yeah, I did see someone say that, like, maybe it's possible that it might be like the original Black Widow.
Ooh, that'd be interesting. Or one of the extra ones, because there was a blonde one for a little bit, and Black Widow is going to be blonde in the upcoming Avengers movie.
There you go.
So that would be an interesting pull if they were to go in that direction, because it's like, well, you know, time is for these characters to show up again, and also Black Widow in the movie is undercover now and probably wanted for the part she played in Civil War. So it all kind of lines up. That's what's called brand synergy. All probably another reason, too, why they want to get Deadpool back to his roots of being a sarcastic merc with a mouth, and probably why they want Frank Castle to not be a Hydra sympathizer, because, hey, we got a high-profile movie sequel and a Netflix show coming out, guys. We can't have these muddying the waters right now.
Yep.
Which was, you know, what's like, even though I understand it and I get that, it's what made me not like this story, because it's like, well, this felt like it was written by a committee and not a writer. It's just like, no, we need to fix this right now.
I can get that, yeah.
Like, I liked Secret Empire as a story. I liked issues 1 to 10. Wasn't crazy about this Omega. There was parts of it that were fine, but by and large, I'm just like, yeah, that was what it was. So yeah, is that everything we got to say about Secret Empire Omega?
I think so, yeah.
All right, now do we want to talk about action next, or do we want to talk about metal next?
Metal.
Okay, we'll talk about metal. So yeah, Dark Knight's Metal issue number 2 came out this week.
It did, and it was pretty cool.
It was suitably metal, and see, people can see me throwing up the horns now because we're on video.
Yeah, people can see us, and they can see Baby Darkseid do it as well.
Baby Darkseid, why is my Baby Darkseid so adorable? Shouldn't he be more terrifying? Why is he kind of cute?
I tweeted at Scott Snyder asking, like, who's the one that gets to change Baby Darkseid's diapers? I didn't get a reply.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That would have been a great reply. It's like, well, they flip a coin on that one, or Alfred. Alfred's just been sitting there feeding and changing Baby Darkseid's diaper since Darkseid War. Actually, no, that's not true. They make a point. Batman says he stole it from Grail, so that means that in between issues, Batman A, found Grail, and B, kidnapped a baby.
Which kind of makes sense, because Grail and I think Jason is coming back in
Wonder Woman.
In Wonder Woman in the next arc.
So there you go. So it all ties together quite interestingly. I mean, yeah, this was another huge continuity referencing universe bringing together kind of story. We essentially get to have Batman as like the most wanted man in the world, which was kind of fun.
Yeah, and we get, I guess, like the whole DC community of superheroes looking for him.
Yeah, all over the world, and like he keeps giving them the slip everywhere he goes, because, you know, he's Batman and he's planned for this shit, and also he has a whole family willing to dress up like him to throw everybody off the scent.
Yeah.
Which, man, that must have been an awkward phone call, you know, like, Batman, he's got, like, the group Skype going on for all the Bat family members, and he calls them, I was like, okay, guys, alien metal, dark bad gods, dark universe, stole a super weapon, Darkseid babies, and also you're all gonna have to dress up like me and lead all the other superheroes on a wild goose chase. Cool? Okay, cool. See you at Christmas.
And he didn't just tell, like, all the Robins and like, Batwoman and everything. He told people like Clayface and
yeah,
stuff
exactly.
like that.
His new Bat family members. That's a great moment, too, when Superman realizes he's talking to Clayface, and they almost make, like, a reference to Injustice, only instead of punching the Joker through, he punches Batman through.
Yeah, like, he realizes it's not Batman.
And Superman's like, I knew that all along.
He's like, whew.
That was not attempted murder, everybody. I totally knew it was Clayface with my Superman eyes. They also, too, man, of all the continuity pulls that this book has, I was not expecting the Legion of Doom headquarters to show up.
That was so cool, and I like that they've sort of like I think it was Raz or Vandal was like, oh, this is going to be used for something else, but I've kind of refitted it now as like a a headquarters for our super secret immortal club.
Yeah, don't worry, everyone. I have plans for this. This weird skull-shaped head that I will soon park in the swamps of New Orleans for some reason.
And I love their, like, ultimate plan. It's like, oh, you know, we're just going to take this anti-monitor astral brain and fire it into the multiverse and destroy the dark multiverse. I'm like, that is so awesome.
That's a metal plan. We're gonna shoot this brain at the Rock of Eternity and hope that the resulting shockwave will destroy another universe. It's like, wow, that's pretty dark. And I like too that like that's a crazy plan, and Ra's al Ghul of all people, who they reveal to be the youngest of all the Immortals, says, you know what, I trust Batman though. If anyone can sort out this ridiculousness, it's the great detective.
Yeah, and he really can't.
No, Batman is wrong every step of the way on this, and I think that's great that Batman gets played like such a fool that all of his enemies knew that A, he would be ridiculously paranoid, and B, he wouldn't include his friends in any of the plans.
Yeah, he was predictable, which is something Batman doesn't like to be, and he was.
No. He was super predictable, and his predictability ended up bringing about the end of the world.
Yeah, in such a cool way as well.
Mm-hmm. Even Batman's plan is insane, but like you can kind of see how like in his fever pitch it makes sense. Where it's like, look, I'm gonna go to the resting place of Prince Khufu, the original Hawkman. I'm gonna take his nth metal mace, which I know for a fact has been able to beat back Barbatos, the evil bat god, before. Then I'm going to take Darkseid, baby, have him shoot me with the Omega Sanction so I can go back in time and stop Barbatos before any of this happened.
Yeah, I'm going to go back in time to when I originally went back in time in Final Crisis, and I'm going to kill Barbatos when he saw me there.
Yeah, and then everything will be fine, and both Superman and Wonder Woman are like, do you even hear yourself when you talk? That's fucking BANAN bananas is what that is.
Yeah, and we get a little bit of the different metals, and we find out that like it takes 5 metals to summon Barbatos, and the last one being Batmanium, which was apparently originally brought when Jim Gordon's Batman was around. Like that was a thing.
Yes.
Then. And
yes, the Powers Corporation made it with their Hadron Collider.
I can't even remember that, and I'm like, that is just the ridiculous name for a metal. Batmanium.
Like, here's the thing. I fought with people in the comment section about this. What's dumber, Batmantium or Unobtainium?
They're both the same.
Like, they're both pretty dumb, aren't they? But like at least they make a point of Batmantium where it's like, oh, we get to name a brand new element, and obviously because all of this is focused around Batman and evil bats and everything, obviously we're going to call it Batmantium. It was the Court of Owls punking him, basically. It was their little jab against it. Unobtainium is like, we need to name this unobtainable piece of material that we need. What do we call it? Unobtainium. Really? Because you seem to be obtaining it all over the damn place. That seems to be an improper name. You might as well have just called it fucking Needium, because you need it. Or Plotnium, because it's important to the
MacGuffium.
plot. Yeah, MacGuffium. Although, admittedly, Batmantium is also pretty MacGuffium, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we get to see the Dark Knights, who are all pretty freaking cool looking.
They all look pretty cool. And apparently they're all Batman. They're all Bruce Wayne.
They're all different evil multiversal versions of Bruce Wayne, even the Lady Aquaman one.
Yeah, which I guess is going to be very interesting in that their solos are going to be basically their origins, aren't they?
Yeah, little one-shots.
Yeah.
Which is funny, people are like, wait, but if they're all Bruce Wayne, even the woman, then what does that mean? I'm like, well, I mean, we've seen gender-bent universes before, don't go nuts now. Don't be thinking she's like Poison from Final Fight or something. That's their way out of it. No, it was, yeah, they're all really cool designs. My favorite, I'm sure, is your favorite too. The Batman Who Laughs, who's just a goddamn Hellraiser Centibite.
That's why I don't understand why people like it. It looks like a Hellraiser Centibite. It's not really a creative thing. It looks like Judge Death.
Yeah, that too. Oh, they are. Oh my God, they're totally the Dark Judges, aren't they?
Yeah, and I don't know why people were really focused on that one. I like the looks of everyone else, except I don't really like the look of that one, but I like what his whole deal is. Like, we're through the Teen Titans book.
Which we'll also talk about.
Yeah, I like his whole deal.
Yeah, he's got, like, 3, like, Gimp Robins on leashes, and they all keep saying, crow, 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 over and over again.
Yeah, and he's got, like, nth metal, like, cards that give people unlimited power.
Joker playing cards, no less.
Yeah.
Now, I found this out about the whole Robin saying crow thing. You know what the deal is with that?
What's that?
Crowbar.
Oh, really? So
Yeah,
so they're all like Jason Todd's?
Yeah, they're all like Jason Todds, who apparently got beaten the fuck out of by crowbars.
Well, I guess that kind of makes sense with the Teen Titans one when we see like the Damien one, and I thought like, well, what makes this one special? They all kind of look the same.
Yeah. Ooh, but this one's got a little R on his chest that's all stitched in there. You are my favorite son, Damien 1. Now go. But yeah, the Teen Titans one was interesting too, because we see what's become of Gotham now that we've lost the Trinity, and that is the Batman Who Laughs comes to Arkham, gives everyone their own nth metal playing card, which essentially turns them into fucking gods, that allows them to turn Gotham into a video game setup where you gotta clear each level and defeat each level boss to get to the center of the city.
Yep, and the first boss is the Riddler, who basically does what he usually does, and that was his downfall.
Yep, he gets defeated super easy. I like, too, that, like, it's not enough that they get the cards and get these superpowers, but they also get, like, total redesigns, so, like, Riddler looks like a backup singer for Kiss now.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, like that book better than, or I like that look better than his War of Jokes and Riddles look, where he's, like, you know, all mutton choppy and muscly and open shirt and shit.
Oh, he looks like an Irish fisherman.
Yes, oh my god, he does. I was going to say he looks kind of like Clockwork Orange with his little derby hat, but yeah, you're right, he looks like an Irish fisherman. I'll tell you a riddle and then I will catch a fish. Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking with that. And to think that this has all been one long story in one dude's life, that he went from Irish fisherman to whatever he was in the middle to frickin' Kiss backup singer. They also find a way to organically work in the other heroes, where, like, Damian runs into Green Arrow in the maze, who's like, well, shit, man, I've been here this whole time.
Yeah, he's like, oh, my city kind of got fucked up. I don't want this city to be fucked up anymore, so...
Yeah. Then, of course, they run into Harley and Croc, who are like, yeah, we got sent here from the new Superman book to deal with this, and, you know, as Gotham natives, we figure it's our civic duty to maybe try and help out here.
Yeah, and except Harley helps out the wrong way by collecting all of Green Arrow's arrows that he's been leaving around.
That's funny. He's like leaving a trail of breadcrumbs so he can find his way around the maze. Oh, I've been collecting all these. That was you. God damn it! Just Green Arrow just can't catch a break, can he?
Yeah, but yeah, that was pretty cool. I like that how it's set out in like levels, like a video game.
Mm-hmm.
And how the Batman Who Laughs is like, I deliberately put Riddler on the outside because I knew he would fuck up.
I knew he would fail.
But Mr. Freeze won't.
Yeah, Mr. Freeze will do better, and I'm the final boss. Maybe of the whole event, I don't know. I mean, like, Barbatos is clearly, like, the big overarching bad, but I guess, like, the Batman Who Laughs is the leader of the Dark Knights.
I guess so, and it's weird, because we've only seen Barbatos, like, once.
Yeah. Well, wasn't he the big dude hanging out in the background, or was that Murder Machine?
That was the, I imagine that was Barbatos.
Okay, because it's like he's kind of like this big baddish-looking thing in a cloak, and it's huge. And I'm like, okay, I guess you're Barbatos, but you're hanging out next to all the other Dark Knights, so it's hard to contrast and compare who's who.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
I wonder if it's a Council of Ricks thing, where it's like, oh, the Dark Knights have no leader because we're all equally Batman all the time.
Maybe, yeah. Well, they all don't want to be leader because they are Batman, and they think the teams are a bad thing.
That's good. I would love that. No, we're not really a team because we're all Batman and we're all not team player.
We're all working against each other.
Oh god, and we're all equally not telling each other what's going on.
It's a really shitty team. They don't win any awards.
Well, and that's how their evil plan's gonna fall apart. It's a team made up of entirely Batman, so you're already fucked. Oh sure, the powers might be different, but at the end of the day, they're all just a bunch of stoic loners, so that's why they're gonna lose. But yeah, Dark Knight's Metal, off to a really cool start. I'm really liking the tie-ins, I'm really liking the main book, I am interested.
Yeah, I think we get our first, Batman book next week. I think it's like the Flash one or something.
Yes, that's a... Well, okay, because there's two tie-in series happening at the same time. There's the Gotham Resistance that runs through Teen Titans, Nightwing, Green Arrow, and Suicide Squad. And then there's Bat Out of Hell, which is the Flash, Cyborg, Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, and Justice League.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is weird how they've split it, where it's like, look, we're telling 2 stories through 2 different sets of tie-ins.
Well, at least they've actually got that, and it's set out like that, and it's not like, you need to read this book, then this book, and these cross over here in this book, and...
They're actually telling you what's important.
Yeah.
And again, as I mentioned in last week's episode, I like their books that don't normally get to tie into stuff.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There are characters who can actually use a push, and they're not interrupting any of the big Trinity stories that are happening.
Mm-hmm.
Which feels good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess with that out of the way, we can get to the topic I'm sure everyone wanted Matt to hear about. And you know what? I'm not even going to say shit on this one. I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to let Matt take this one away.
I was right.
How right were you, Matt?
I was 100% right.
You couldn't have been righter. You read all the red herrings, all the little clues, and at the end of the day, it turned out Mr. Oz... And I don't feel bad about saying this because it'll be next week by the time we get this one up. Mr. Oz was Jor-El.
Mr. Oz was Jor-El, and it could only ever be Jor-El.
It's true. Like, all the evidence screamed Jor-El. From the fact that he talked about not being human, from the fact that he had a big boner on for Superman, to the fact that he knew how to work Kryptonian technology.
Yeah, it was all there, to the fact that he went and killed Zor-El.
Yes. Because, you know, obviously he was like his... But they were brothers, right? That was their thing?
Yep.
Okay, because, yeah, his blood brother, who was also a cyborg and who could also realistically perhaps stop him. Now, explain this one. Early on in the book, Jor-El goes out of his way to steal the kryptonite heart of Metallo, who we find out is like a prisoner of Argus after the last Action comic story. Mm-hmm. Answer this question, because I actually wanted this answer, and I know people were asking me this on Twitter, and I had no answer for them. Why did the kryptonite not affect him?
Because it's it's post-crisis Jor-El. And if this is technically a different universe, this universe's kryptonite won't affect him. Much like how if Superman went to Earth 2, that kryptonite wouldn't affect him because different radio lengths and stuff.
Pretty sneaky, sis.
Yeah, it's very simple, very simple.
Interesting. And clearly, this is a Jor-El who's gone through the fucking ringer. He's missing an eye.
Oh yeah, I think next issue and the issue after that we learn the story of Jor-El, how he became that Jor-El. It definitely is Jor-El. It's not like Jor-El with Ozymandias' brain or like some of the stupid theories I've heard. Because Dan Jenkins has said this is Jor-El. Because if it was someone else, if it was Ozymandias, it's no longer a Superman story.
No, it really isn't.
And why would it be Ozymandias? Why would he do all this to Superman? It doesn't make any sense.
It also fits really perfect thematically how so much of both Action and Superman as books right now have dealt with the family dynamic of the Superman family and Superman being a father for the very first time. It only makes sense to set him up against his own father.
Yep, exactly, yeah. And before people say, I know, because there's definitely going to be that one comment, well, why is he called Mr. Oz? It's because of Wizard of Oz, the man behind the green curtain.
Oh, shit. I didn't even think... That's good. That's pretty good, actually.
I've known that for a while. I thought that was like common knowledge, but people just refuse to like acknowledge it. It's because of the Wizard of Oz.
I like that, actually. And obviously, you know, Jor-El being a smart guy, being a well-read guy who sent his son to Earth, he would have a passing knowledge of the planet's like literature and shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's also kind of funny, too, because, you know, Jor-El's a guy who's always been, you know, defined by, you know, I gotta find a planet for my son, you know, Earth, you know, he could be something special here, you know, the Kents, you know, would really love him, and he could, you know, he could be a Superman, you know, because of Earth's yellow sun and everything. To see something in him twist and change to where now he hates Earth and hates humanity and says that they don't deserve Superman, that's interesting.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out what exactly that was, and apparently we're going to find out where he wanted to send him, or like where, like an alternate place.
Ooh, Thanagar.
Ran, Apocalypse.
Well, actually, Rand kind of makes sense because they have like the Science Council and all those like really learned dudes. I can understand why he would actually want to send Superman to Rand.
But yeah,
don't they have a red sun on Rand too? I think they might.
I think so. Yeah.
So it's like, hey, it's more like Krypton.
Yeah. Maybe, man. I don't know.
Yeah, but have you seen the price of real estate on Rand? Oh, no, I can't send him there. Earth, I guess.
Yeah, next best thing.
I love this idea that Earth was the safety school for Superman. Oh, well, I mean, Earth, it's a party planet, but I mean, they got a really great athletic department. We'll send him there. It's also kind of a timely story, too, to see, like, Jor-El turn on humanity and see all these things he hates, and they do a pretty good job, like, you know, highlighting a lot of the worst parts of humanity in this story. We see, like, an oil tanker crash into a beach full of cute baby seals because the dude was drunk and underpaid and everything, and then we see, like, you know, a bunch of gorillas slaughter a town full of innocent people to steal their medicine so they could sell it on the black market because they're so goddamn poor and desperate. And then, you know, we see a racist good old boy with an American flag bandana try and gun down a bunch of Mexican workers.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people got really mad at that, especially like Fox News and all that sort of stuff.
Fuck those people.
And I'm like, do you not understand? Of course, Superman would save immigrants. He is one.
Exactly. He's the ultimate immigrant, which I was going to mince words on that, but it's like, if that pissed you off, the idea of Superman saving some brown people, that says a lot more about you than it does anything else. And P.S., fuck you. See how I gave the smart, compassionate answer first, then gave the, like, crude response at the very end? And P.S., fuck you. But yeah, this is a hell of a kickoff to this new story, and I knew where it's like, you know, even if it was going to be Jor-El, the more interesting part of the story is what's going to come now when we find out why. Yeah,
why it's Jor-El, why he's now this kind of cynical guy who wants to kind of destroy Earth.
And how's he going to feel, you know, once, you know, he realizes what's like, oh, I have a grandson and everything that I've only ever kind of met once.
Yeah, that's going to be really... I know there's a cover out there, it's a lenticular cover with Jor-El and them on it, but it's going to be very interesting. I'm wondering if maybe like, oh, well, Clark's a lost cause, kind of like Manchester Black. Clark's a lost cause, but John isn't.
Is this going to be another join me on the dark side? There's been a lot of that, but I like that that's kind of the running theme, that every villain in their own way tries to tempt John to the dark side. Even Mr. Mxyzptlk tried to do it too.
Well, it makes sense. Oh, a young, impressionable boy with all of Superman's skills. It's perfect.
Who may even be more powerful than Superman, they keep saying.
Yeah, he's got a crossover coming over with Teen Titans.
Yes, it's the Teen Titans, Superman, and Super Sons that are going to be having a big crossover.
Yeah, and that seems to be like drawing from that one panel from when Superman was infected with Sinestro, where John was fighting the Teen Titans and him and everything. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
I like it. I'm excited for it. It's a good time to be a Superman fan, isn't it? Probably putting out some of the best stories they have in years.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Like, Superman is a must-read book now after a whole, like, New 52 era being like, nah, you don't really got to read any Superman unless you're a fan.
Yeah.
But to now be like, no, this is where it's at. This is all very, very important shit.
Yeah, this is really important.
Yeah, like, one of the biggest mysteries of DC Rebirth has been answered right now, which dovetails to what you were saying about how a lot of the books this week felt like, okay, now DC Rebirth Chapter 2.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way.
Yeah, year 2. This is how we're gonna do it. I love that they kept the Jor-El thing secret for as long as they did.
Oh, they did a really good job about it.
They did. Well, it's like they kept it secret, but at the same time, they weren't keeping it secret at all because it was obvious who it was going to be if you paid attention to all the clues.
It was, and I was talking to Tom about it, and he's like, he gets the feeling that everyone's kind of disappointed in it because they built, like, over the year, it's going to be Superboy Prime, it's going to be Ozymandias. They built up all these things, and when it was Jor-El, they're like, oh, really?
It's just another Superman story then. It's not anything big or crazy.
It's a Superman story. It's in Superman. God damn it.
What did you want? I wanted Watchmen, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I dig that about it, and I'm definitely going to be super excited to hop on to this one more as it continues.
Yeah, it's we don't get it next week. We have to wait another week.
Yeah.
For the next part.
Which reminds me, what's the main Superman book doing while all this is happening? I feel like I should know this.
Going to Apocalypse and dealing with the whole Lex Darkseid thing.
That's a pretty good story too to run for Superman.
Yeah.
That's pretty big in its own right. That makes sense. I buy that. So yeah, I mean, I guess on that note, is that everything we have to say this week? We had a big meaty show talking about all sorts of comics.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything.
Yeah, that's week 2, everyone, of video. We hope you enjoyed this one. And also, oh man, I can't believe we made it this long and I didn't mention the fact that this is episode 69. Yeah.
There were more important things.
It's true. If this were any other episode, Matt and I would have done at least 5 solid minutes when we started about this being episode 69. Yeah, 69. Yeah. It's funny. It's funny. Sex stuff. Yeah. And on that note, everyone, I think we can wind down this episode. Don't you agree, Matt?
I agree.
Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you enjoyed the new video format. As always, if you're a Patreon member, you can listen to this one first. As soon as we're done, you can just head on over there. I usually upload it Sunday night around midnight, give or take, depending on when we finish. If you want to listen to the audio version of the show, you can head on over to SoundCloud, download that one, carry it around with you wherever you go. I promise I'll remember to upload it this week. That was my bad. I was so excited about the video thing and watching the numbers go up on the video side. I'm like, oh crap, I didn't upload the audio version. I'm an idiot. Oops. So yeah, I'll remember to do that, everyone. Be sure to check out the Comic Multiverse store. Matt worked really hard designing a bunch of shirts for us over at TeePublic. You can see a bunch of great designs for both Fortress of Solitude and myself and everything.
Yeah,
we're going to be adding. Yeah. Going to be adding to more of those in the future. If you want a great deal on comic book trades, Matt and myself both have book depository links down in the description of our videos. If you use that to buy your next comic book trade, not only will you be saving a bundle on shipping and handling, but you'll be supporting our channels at the same time, so it'll be much appreciated.
Yeah, everyone likes cheap comics.
They surely do. You can also follow us on social media. I'm at Cape Joel. Matt is over on Fortress of Solitude _ Matt.
Yeah, Matt _ FOS.
Right, that's it. See, I knew what it was, but I flipped it.
I'm sure if you follow Joel, mine will just pop up.
Exactly, just do that. Yeah, I should really just start putting your shit like in the description too, where it's like, look, you want to go there.
That would help.
Yeah, save myself this big harangue I do at the end of every episode. So yes, thank you everyone for watching. We'll be back again next week, Wednesday at 8, with more podcasting goodness, more news goodness, and we'll just be talking it up. We'll just be talking it up all over the place, right?
Yeah, the episode 70.
Episode 70. Goddamn, we are in striking distance of episode 100.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We'll probably miss an episode like second week in October when I have to go away, but you know, we'll be there. We scarcely miss an episode.
We do.
And even if I do, I try and make sure that I have something I upload on the Wednesday anyway, be it a commentary, be it an anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, on that note, everybody, this is Cape Joel saying bye-bye.
See ya.